Then in 2016, the earth shifted beneath our feet. The rebellion started as a quiet protest. Ford, Walmart, and many others.
Like, it never comes up good on the camera.
I really hate the idea of contradicting myself. And in my last video, I've been thinking about going back and just cutting that part out. But I'm just going to leave it because it wasn't that bad. Because I think I understood. I think people understood my point. I just misspoke. It was the way I said it, the way I termed things about the whole rapture idea and shifting. And I said, yeah, I guess you can take your body. I don't see why not. But no, you're not, because no matter where if you're shifting, and I'm trying to wrap my head around shifting somewhere where your consciousness shifts. Okay, let's start from the beginning. How did it start? I do have memories of, and I'm telling you, I remember posting something like this, and I don't see it anywhere. I have memories of in 2015, I'll say late September, early October, of where I would, if a beam of light came down, I'd have got in it. If a ship landed, I'd have got in. Somebody came up to me and said, hey, you ready to, go through this portal? I'm going through. I really feel like, I have memories of something like that happening, but, it could have been a dream. It could have been me daydreaming. I don't know. I don't remember, but a lot of those things were very thick. They were very real back then. They were very more conscious, less physical, more thick, solid, more solid, but less dense, more dense. That's what it is. I don't know how to put that. I wonder what I'm getting on here, because I'm trying to just do little ideas. This was just to say, no, you're not actually taking your physical body. Now, even if you are going back to the rapture or where you were raptured, it's your consciousness that would create that physical body that you feel you're in. That's as close as I can get, because I'm back right on top of that fence where, I really feel like those stories could be fiction. But like I said, infinite timelines, I suppose everything is possible. And I kind of got to leave it at that. But I'm not going to be focusing on Bluebeard's information. I have it stored away. If something similar happens to me, thank you, I have it. Do I think it's possible? Yeah. Do I think it could be happening? Sure. But I'm not focusing on that. So it's sort of almost like TV and stuff. I'm not going to focus on it. And which made me think, YouTube, a lot of the stuff you watch on YouTube, including me, you are watching me. Okay, so if you're focusing on the things I'm saying, and if you're putting all that stuff in your perception, that's what you're going to get in your life. If you're focusing on other people on YouTube, that's what you're going to get. If you're watching Bluebeard stuff, hey, you could have experiences like that too. I mean, if it's real, if it's true, if it really can happen that way, ask the question. That's what I'm doing, because every time I ask a question, I seem to get an answer, or sometimes I get the answer before I ask the question. But just watch out, discern. That was probably the best thing I said in the last video. Discern everybody that you're listening to. I'm gonna be focusing on myself and the things I desire and want. And when I have an experience, I'll be able to share it. But interesting. I mean, I'm just surprised there's not more actually coming out now. I think that should be happening. But discern everything you listen to. and be careful what you focus on. Make sure you're focusing on things that you are okay with having in your life. Or somebody who just couldn't, saw some of the changes in the Mandela effect and just couldn't, I don't know, his mind couldn't really handle it. I don't know how else to put it. And what he did is, he knew he knows I don't think the earth is a ball. So he attacks me with flat earth stuff, and I'm like, dude, I don't care. It's not my perception. I don't really care. That information changed my perception a couple of years ago. I'm over it. But he did explain, why Africa's so much bigger in 4 years from that span because of sand erosion, and I'll let you listen to some of it. I don't really want to put it up, but it's interesting how people will turn things around when they just can't understand something. They attack.
It is encroachment of sand due to drought that is making the continent larger, while other areas are getting smaller because of encroachment of water, because of global warming and significant melting of large masses of areas like Maldives, Sri Lanka, and that sort of thing, and their islands are getting smaller and exposed, and yet you show enlargement of continents like Africa and this sort of thing because of the growing land mass.
Hey guys, what's going on? How are you? Best day of my life.
Because of sand.
Every minute.
You have a bad habit of appearing out of shadows.
Maybe I'm leading you into the light. The only thing that comes back from the dead are gods and zombies. So unless you're the second coming,
Multiple timelines. You know they exist. Different branches, different version of ourselves. My consciousness was pulled from one reality, brought here, fused. The energy of one reanimating the other.
The more I stay away from YouTube, mainly YouTube at this point, some television, but not even real television, I don't think that matters. The more I stay away from it, the more I'm experiencing outside. It's like when I started doing YouTube videos, it's like the experience has slowed down. They didn't stop. They may have. Well, no, they didn't stop, but they did slow down. So I'm thinking, no more posting for a time, but I've been saying that anyway. That's why you're getting bits and pieces of information here and there. It is my opinion from experience. Look, we did not move to the other side of the galaxy. Your consciousness, our consciousness, shifted into a timeline where this is what the galaxy looked like. This is where we supposedly were in the galaxy all this time. See, if you understand other things that I've studied, that outer space is fake, and that's how I feel about it. I don't know if that's real or not, and I'm not going to know. I don't think. I mean, there might be a possibility or some way I might find out. But if you understand it, all that's just lies. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're going to make something up in every timeline. They're going to come up with an idea, and it's going to be close or different depending on how far you shift. I mean, that's all it is. We did not shift. We were not transported to another galaxy or to the other side of the galaxy. Your consciousness just shifted into a timeline where that's the way it's always been. Just listening to a video, and they were talking about family and friends and who knows what. And for me, September 2015, I called two of my very good friends. Both of them kind of blew it off. Weren't really into it. Mandela effects. I don't remember whether I talked about flat earth or not, probably, but I'm not sure. Um, and then I want to say a year later, my buddy Don was totally into Mandela Effect, and we talked about it often. So I don't know if I triggered him, and Steve, he really wasn't into it, and still isn't. It just laughs at me, but he's more involved in it now. Like when I talk to him, or when I did talk to him, like Steve, he laughs at me. He's more I guess he's more involved as far as he's aware of it now because of me. But at first it was like, no, and I really thought I was going to lose these guys as friends, both of them. But, apparently I shifted into a timeline where that's not the case. Um, but family, I mean, but, as far as family goes, they're all in their own thing. They're doing their physical thing. They're doing what they got to do. Uh, but it's funny because some of these people, they're just not the same people. I mean, it makes sense too, and it's okay. The I'm not spending as much time with my family now because I'm on the other side of the country, so they're not really in my perception. So things change. They're making decisions and shifting and changing where they got to do, and I'm shifting and I'm conscious of it now. So I'm shifting things the way I want. But as far as family and friends go, yeah, they're different. They either, when you bring it to their attention, they're either going to shift along with you, maybe not at the same speed, or they're not. And they're just not the same people. Love them all just the same. I mean, the more I interact with other people, the more I interact with my family, the more I stay off of the computer. Um, the more I see that it's about me. If I do get on the computer, the first question I come across is, something where the answer is going to be, you got to stop focusing on what other people are doing, and you got to start focusing on yourself. There are people out there who are into the Mandela effect, who see the Mandela effect, and debunk other people on products. I mean, please. If you see, to this point, I'm under the impression that most people feel that their consciousness is shifting through timelines, or back and forth, or their soul is shifting. Maybe it's not your consciousness. I don't know. I think it's your consciousness. I mean, that's the only thing I'm aware of. But that's just it. I'm aware of my consciousness. And when I'm having a conversation with somebody else, I'm not aware of their consciousness. I'm interacting with them, and we're learning and growing, and they're where they are and I'm where I am. So no, I tend to think it's consciousness that shifts. I think if you focus on something, I think you can do it. I think there is probably some sort of moral code or some sort of code to it as far as what you can do, what you can shift, why you're shifting, why you're desiring what you desire. Or it could be just a matter of actually believing it, and actually really truly believing it. One of the things I mentioned in a very earlier video was that I didn't believe in death. I didn't take it so literally, but I didn't believe in death. I mean, I always said, no, you know what? We always exist, and that's it. And there was a couple of times in my life where I feel like I could have died, but didn't, because circumstances were different, and they could have simply been me shifting into a timeline where I didn't die. Or maybe I didn't die in that timeline. I mean, but I just don't understand how someone can, I'm all over the place here, I get that. I don't understand how someone can debunk someone else's experience. I see that You know, I don't know. Like this LG symbol has always been like that, and that's the way it's always been. And somebody else says, no, the L was in cursive. It was written. Well, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say, wow, cool. They shifted from another timeline where the L was written. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say, no, you're wrong. You know, there are some people go, whoa, that's not how I remember. I mean, the proper way to respond to a Mandela effect that you're not affected by would be, oh, that's not the way it was in my reality. It's always been this way. You know, for me, it was Oscar Mayer. Mayer is how it's always been spelled for me. There are thousands of people out there that remember Mayar. Well, I'm not telling them they're wrong. You know, I'm not, you know, I'm on the other side of that. You know, that's the only one I can really think of that I'm on the other side of, where all these people are saying it's this way. And I'm like, wow, I don't remember that. But I'm not telling them, no, they're wrong. Or they're not telling me I'm wrong. I mean, if I'm wrong, it's not a Mandela effect. You know, and if that's what these other people are getting at, say that. Don't just start, you know, trashing other people because they remember something differently than you do. I mean, I can't believe that, you know, you're still that far behind. Whatever. I guess that's what the point of this was. Who knows? I just kind of went off. And now I can get back on by saying, yes, staying away from the electronics has helped me. And I've become focused on what I'm doing. For instance, with work. I mean, I totally jumped into it. But I was present. And I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, because I feel like, well, I've done all this work before. Yeah. But I'm conscious of it. I'm going after it. I'm not just doing it like a robot, you know. I'm just, you know, I'm consciously and focusing on it intentionally and going at it that way. And it's different. It's more rewarding. I work like it's like I own it. Whatever I'm doing, I act like I own it. Like it's mine and I have to take care of it this way. Everybody should work that way. And that's about, you know, I mean, I've always had that work ethic. It just seems more pronounced. Now I'll flip back the other way and say, yes, my consciousness is the only one that should matter to me. And that doesn't mean being nasty to other people or take advantage of people. I mean, interact with them and you know, be a good person. You know, what's good to you. You also have to be true to yourself. You know, that's probably the most important thing, be true to yourself. But even so, I had a guy last night, we were talking about when I mentioned the dominant consciousness. Oh, he just said, stop, explain that. What do you mean? You know, and I went off on, you know, there's different timelines constantly possibly shooting out before you even get to them. And they're probably just branching off. They're still there, kind of. You can change your past. You can change your moment. You can, you know, you don't, the future's not there. It's not, you know, it's you're making it right now. This is all we have. So, you know, I recommend not dwelling so much on the timelines that are out here. Concentrate on this timeline right here. Don't worry about, you know, what other people's consciousnesses are doing or where they are, or, you know, it's about your consciousness and where you're existing. I had a really deep conversation with this guy, and I'm like, God, I wish I would just start taping me when I talk to other people, but I'll know the tape's there. I won't focus in on it. I mean, I do believe I've said everything I need to say is when I get to a point and it gets out there, but it gets jumbled. Like, I think I had 3 topics in this little bit here. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and put this up. I think it's important only to the point that people realize that, you know, there's going to be A lot of false stories out there, made up stories, and it's easy to do with this. It's easy to do with this Mandela effect. You know, how can you possibly say what one or another person, you know, is experiencing? You can't, you know. So I am going to put this up. All the really great stuff has been edited out. I mean, I'm not. It's pointless. So I'm back. I have been offline for a few weeks because I was copyright striked 5 times by Bluebeard 2011, and we had to go. I had to go through all kinds of legal things to keep my channel from being totally taken down and all those videos lost. And all my videos were put back up. Bluebeard 2011 claimed I was putting his music in my videos. It was total fabrication. I mentioned him in a video. He didn't like what I had to say about him, and he retaliated by copyright striking my videos. Now, what I said about him was, you know, I just wasn't resonating with his stories, but there's no way I would ever say anybody's a liar after all the things I've been through. How dare I? I mean, I wouldn't do that. So, you know, the first time I ran into the guy's videos 10 months ago or so, I just, you know, set it aside and didn't say a thing. And this time I mentioned that, you know, I didn't resonate with the stuff, and I mentioned his name. Other people were saying the same thing, but they didn't mention his name, and that may have been my mistake, or maybe it wasn't a mistake. The only reason I could see that he was doing this was to get himself kicked off of YouTube, because I wasn't going to back down. I'm not going to be bullied off. You know, I'll get off in my own time. I'll get off when I need to get off. But I'm back, and you know, I got 3 weeks of videos I'm going to go ahead and edit together, and hope you enjoy that. That should be fun. Anything else I need to say? Because, you know, I really want to be done with it. I mean, honestly, I probably have 3 hours of video of me just going through everything step by step, and I don't really think it's necessary. I won the case. It's been ruled that his music is not in my videos, so my site's back up. No copyright strikes. I'm going to link the 5 videos that were striked here, although it does look like a lot of people got to it already. So that's it. That's just a hey, I'm back, and get ready for the next video. And thank you everybody who supported me. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the hellos. I know exactly, you know, what you were saying, and I get it. Thank you very much. Thank you for the few people that I emailed and asked for advice. I would go ahead and name you all, but I don't think that's necessary. And looking forward to getting back into it. It first hit me when I realized what was going on. I was so upset. And I'd get over it, and I'd try and do a video, and I'd start cursing them out right in the middle of the thing. I'm like, no. I went through all those, edited all those. You're not going to see them. It's not necessary. It's pointless. It's drama that you don't need in your life. What you do need to take away from this is discern everybody you're listening to on the Mandela effect subject, shifting consciousnesses, shifting timelines, flat earth, everything. Discern who you're listening to and what they're saying. So I was copyright striked, and I'm not even sure why. Now, the video before the one I just put out had something to do with the, I mentioned the Manchester bombing, and the next video was copyright striked, and by the end of the day, they put it back up. I just thought that strange, and I didn't find it strange at the time. I was like, well, whatever, just, you know, I'll just delete it, do it over again, see what happens, find out what I did wrong that they don't agree with, until I saw two other people say that they were copyright striked, and they happened to mention the Manchester bombings. So I was like, wow. But I didn't in that video, I don't think. Anyway, it's back up, doesn't matter. It's strange. I watched the first 5 videos that I put out, and I don't even know where to start with this. I've said things in those videos that I say now like it's the first time I've ever said it. It's the first time, like, oh my God, this is the biggest thing for me personally, and boom, there it is. And it just cracks me up. I mean, I talked about how it's about what's in your perception, yet I was very into the flat earth material. And I made a point of mentioning that the earth is flat. Well, I didn't know that then, and I don't know that now. I lean very much towards it's not a globe spinning through space and, you know, I'm going to own my own starship someday. No. I'm kind of surprised, but in a way not, because, and I even said the Mandela effect changed my perception of reality, and it should have been the flat earth. It was the flat earth. It wasn't the Mandela effect that changed my perception of reality. It was the flat earth material that changed my perception of reality. That I didn't stick with it, and that I felt that it's, you know, I'm beyond that. It's a stepping stone. So like what I said in the 3rd or 4th video, that flat earth would become a stepping stone, even though I was very much into it at the time. I just knew it. And, you know, that's what happened. You know, it became, flat earth is what changed my perception of reality, because that's when I said, wait a minute, you can't prove to me it's flat. You can't prove to me it's a globe. I went outside, looked at the stars, and they came at me with that whole bit. To me, that's changing my perception of reality right there. I mean, you know, and the Mandela effect, you know, I was looking at that at the time, and I'm thinking back now, and it's funny because I talked about how I can change my past. I've talked about that in other videos, how, you know, you can change your past. So I'm looking at these videos, and I swear in my first video I said, oh, it's about your perception. Now, I did use the word perception, but it's not how I worded it. And the way it is now is how I remember it. But I remember maybe a month ago looking back at it going, whoa, I said everything I wanted to say in that first video. That it's about what's in your perception, and it doesn't matter, you know, what you've been taught, believed, or whatever. And that just, I was like, wait, okay, that was cool. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. It's a Mandela effect. I shifted into a timeline where I said everything that I wanted to say in my first video, but now I look at it now and it's exactly the way I remember it. I said most of the stuff that I wanted to say in the first video, and I'm sorry I didn't put everything in order and just start from the beginning slow. But the second video is where I really got out, you know, it's about what's in your perception. And that's not even true now. I'm thinking about it. I think that didn't come out until the 5th video. I only watched the first 5 videos, you know, and now it's funny because I'm having like a third memory that this whole idea of changing your perception, you know, I recall actually doing it in the second video. And then it was the whole idea of that, you know, me saying that it's about your perception. It doesn't matter what you believe or whatever. It's about what's in front of you. It doesn't matter what shape the planet is. I remember that being in the second video. But now I don't think so. I think it's like more like 5. And this is all coming to me right now. I'm just thinking back on this. But I think it's strange how I look back on these things and I'm saying everything that I'm saying now, like for the first time. I got into the Mandela effect, and I just, you know, wasn't hitting the ones that the Berenstein Bears, I never heard of them before. They showed up for me in 2012. Yes, 2012 is the first time I've ever had any kind of experience with the Berenstain Bears. So for me, that wasn't like, it's all right, maybe I missed it. I mean, I don't know how. There was somebody in my family that read every book under the sun for that age group and would have definitely read through those books, and that didn't happen. I mean, I would know that. Now, that did excite me, and that changed my perception of reality. Okay, and that's what I'm thinking. The flat Earth material is what changed my perception of reality, not the Mandela effect, like I said in like the second video. So, and I'm like, and I wouldn't have made that a mistake. I don't understand that. Okay, wait, I do understand that. I'm just shifting, and I'm looking at videos that I just happen to say something else that made sense because I would have looked at it and thought that was wrong. So I'm realizing what happened. I got into the Mandela effect. I got into flat Earth, mainly the Mandela effect, and then flat Earth kind of took over because it really interested me. I mean, I was a conspiracy guy. I was always going for the conspiracies. That was my thing. But it was the flat Earth material because, I mean, even if that's not true, even if that's total bullcrap, and that's just to cause, because I've said that. I've said flat Earth is just going to be it's pulling you away from something else. So what is it pulling you away from? It's pulling you away from that you can shift your reality into whatever you want. You don't have to deal with their stuff. And I feel so good at doing. And it doesn't matter. Okay, let's say hypothetically I get scared. My consciousness is so far from that if it even came close, I'd just shift into another timeline where that's not going on, and I'm still sitting here talking with you guys. I know that sounds crazy and far out there, but the point here. Yeah, in those early videos, I said at least once that it was the Mandela effect that changed my perception of reality. I'm sure it had something to do with it. But it was definitely the flat Earth material, and I was very much into the flat Earth then. And I'm not surprised because I got away from it, realizing how's this affecting my life? That's what I had to get at. How is this affecting my life? Thank you for deceiving me, so that I could experience living in a physical reality, on a ball, on a planet, a galaxy, in a universe. I mean, it was awesome, and it really was, and I miss it. I miss that. But I also want now I'm to the point where I want to know a truth here. What's really going on. So I'm thinking, okay, let's use terms. The Christ self is coming down into physical embodiment, and that's why you get sick during a shift, and these photon belts that I read about in '85 are this is what we're passing through. And these are the shifts that they're talking about. So they're all different terminologies because I'm sure the Bible talks about it somewhere too, and it's probably another term. I like to use the word shift. We are shifting through timelines. And, I like to say this is the beginning and we're going to create, and I don't know that. Okay, I just like to think that. It also could be from going through the Mandela Effect site. I remember having conversations with these people about how 2017, CERN shutting down and all this other stuff. By the end of 2017, that's going to be the last decent shift until 2029, I believe it said. And then 2029, something extraordinary happens. Like extraordinary things haven't been happening. So I'm thinking this year, September probably, 23rd probably, is going to be a big date, big shifts, see what happens. At first I came up with these terms, it's individual, it's about you. I was on the flat Earth material, and now I'm going, yeah, it's about you, and I'm looking at these clues through the Mandela effect, That's telling me it's about me. And I should be concentrating on me and my experiences and what that means to me. And I suppose it's okay to report. Maybe it'll help people. I feel the urge to wake people up. Um, is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. I know that's what I feel like I want to do. So, I go with it. I just do it, when I feel like I should. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't and I don't. Uh, the advertisements in YouTube. Um, yeah, I never thought I'd monetize because the idea for me was just to get the information out about the Mandela effect, what I thought about it, what my theories were. And, at first it was just for me to put up, to talk to myself like a diary, like a blog, whatever. And then I figured, oh, people were like this, some people, and it was helping them because, they didn't want to talk about it. And things have been happening to them too. And like, you know what, I had one of my videos hit, a lot of views, so I'm going to start advertising and taking their money. Why shouldn't I take their money? And I get that. And I thought, oh, you know what? Why not? I mean, if they're going to give you money for just putting stuff up, then I say go ahead and do it, right? So I tried it. And after I understood, how to go through it and all, and what the deal was about how many people had to hit it and how many people you had to have subscribed, and there's rules to it, and you can actually cash out at the end of a month, I think, if you make, have so many hits or something. And, it didn't really add up for me. It could have, I suppose, if I stayed with it, made a couple more videos. But I decided to take it off because something didn't seem right about it. Almost like selling out. Okay, it just something didn't seem right about it. Plus, I wasn't really making anything on it, so I figured, what's the point? I didn't like it. I want this information out if it helps people, for it to help people. I mean, I'm like, if there's a video up there that you want to put up and it's monetized and I want to see it, I'm going to watch it. Maybe not the advertisement, but I'll watch the video. I don't care one way or the other. I mean, I remember at first when I was watching videos, there were no advertisements. Then all of a sudden I found somebody that had advertisements on it, and it annoyed me. And I was like, oh, but I got used to it. I click off, no big deal. But I'm still not going to monetize. And there's people out there saying don't monetize, and there's other people out there saying no, these people are putting a lot of work into their videos, they should monetize and get paid for it. Yeah, I agree with that. I can't disagree with that. I mean, if you can make money off it, and I guess that's okay. But I mean, to me, there's something so big going on right now that I don't know. If you want to make money on YouTube, then project that, focus on it, and that's what you'll have. I mean, is there something wrong with it? No, I guess not. I'm not going to do it. I don't care if other people do it if I like watching their channel. So I don't, some people are saying, yeah, do it. No, don't do it. They're making a big deal out of it. I don't think it's a big deal. Do it if you want. Don't do it if you don't want. That's all.